Magneto, are you all right? I am unharmed, Charles. What is this place? A rainforest in Antarctica? A rainforest in Antarctica.
In tonight's Fact or Fiction, we're looking into an image from Google Earth. It's getting some buzz. It shows an area of Antarctica that some people claim clearly has pyramids covered in snow. Several websites say the pyramids were likely made by an intelligent human civilization long ago. It's pure fiction. The so-called pyramids in the Google Earth image are just mountains. Their pyramid-like shape is called a horn. And these type of mountains are a common feature of areas with glaciers. There's no evidence that humans ever lived on Antarctica, let alone build pyramids there.
Am I dreaming? No, Charles, it is real. It's called the Savage Land, a valley hidden in perpetual mist, created eons ago for a purpose long forgotten.
The discoveries have been made below the ice in a lake that's below the ice, which I find very weird, because if it's below there, how can it be a lake? But it's interesting. It's a big discovery, right? Tell us about it.
It's quite a big discovery. What the researchers did was they cored through the ice down about 4,000 feet, pulled up a couple of cores. What the researchers did was they cored through the ice down about 4,000 feet, pulled up a couple of cores.
The ice is cracking!
And then analyzed the bacteria, the microbes that lived in the ice. And what they found was a lot of brand new things, a lot of brand new species of bacteria, and very significant kinds of findings.
So what does this tell us about Antarctica? Does it tell us that once upon a time it wasn't a frozen wasteland? Once upon a time it wasn't a frozen wasteland?
Am I dreaming? No, Charles, it is real. It's called the Savage Land, a valley hidden in perpetual mist, created eons ago for a purpose long forgotten.
I mean, is that basically, was it like Britain all green and stuff?
Well, we know from geological evidence and how the continents drift that Antarctica was at one time habitable by large animals and a lot nicer climate than what it is now. But these bacteria give us an idea as to the kinds of microbes that lived when Antarctica was habitable, and also indeed the kinds of microbes that can live in ice too. So,
he took 41 brave sailors straight into the Arctic shelf.
The ice is freezing faster than it's melting! Chop faster! Chop faster! No sacrifice! No victory! We'll get to the Arctic Circle, lads!
I think the dogs have found something.
The ice is cracking!
Captain! Grab my boat, Captain!
I'm all right, lads!
Megatron crash-landed before he could retrieve the cube. Megatron crash-landed before he could retrieve the cube. Before time began, there was the cube. We know not where it comes from, only that it holds the power to create worlds and fill them with life. That is how our race was born. For a time we lived in harmony, but like all great power, some wanted it for good, others for evil. And so began the war. A war that ravaged our planet until it was consumed by death. And the cube was lost to the far reaches of space. We scattered across the galaxy, hoping to find it and rebuild our home, searching every star, every world. And just when all hope seemed lost, message of a new discovery drew us to an unknown planet called Earth. But we were already too late.
Ben! We've made a discovery!
He accidentally activated his navigation system. The coordinates to the cube's location on Earth were imprinted on his glasses. The coordinates to the cube's location on Earth were imprinted on his glasses.
Shubat, who has become a born-again Christian, has discovered a connection between the name of Allah and the 666. He explains that the Greek letters XES, which John wrote in Greek, are actually the Arabic phrase Bismillah, which means, in the name of Allah. He says that what John saw were actually Arabic letters, which John could not read, but which bore a resemblance to the Greek alphabet in which John wrote. It would have been pointless to write symbols of another language, which could not be read by the Greek readers of Revelation. So it is very possible that the Arabic Bismillah is indeed what John saw, and recorded in Greek letters. The first symbol of 666 are the Muslim crossed swords, the X character, a symbol of Islam and jihad, which are often used by Muslims on flags and military symbols. Notice the handles on the swords. The middle, E, symbol, is an Islamic symbol called Bismillah, Arabic for Allah, or, in the name of Allah. When you turn the Bismillah on its side and place it in a mirror, it forms the same middle Greek character, as written by John. Notice the line drawn, above Allah, and the hook, on its end. The line, it is part of the word Allah, it is not an underline. Notice the same hook in the line drawn by John. It matches the line in the name Allah exactly. The third character is the Greek character stigma, which means mark, or badge of servitude. The Greek XES or 666 has been noted not just in the Bismillah, but also in the Shahada, which is the Islamic confession of faith, which is what the Quran states will be written on the badge of servitude on the Day of Judgment. The XES has also been noted on an Islamic Chechen flag, which bears the crossed swords and the name Allahu Akbar, meaning God is greater. This flag bears a striking resemblance to the Greek XES, as written by John, even bearing the line above the letter E, in the name Allah. It has also been noted that in the Arabic calligraphy form, the name Allahu Akbar contains 3 sixes, which can be clearly seen. Therefore a direct connection between the name Allahu Akbar and the number 666 can be perceived. Bible speaks about taking the mark on the forehead or right hand. It spoke of hatred between the serpent Satan and the woman Israel. Then he speaks about two seeds, the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent. The seed of the woman, whose heel was bitten by the serpent, was the promised Messiah, Jesus Christ, which was crucified having nails driven through his feet, which left him with 2 puncture marks, as if he had been bitten by a serpent. But who is the seed of the serpent? I believe it is speaking about the promised son of the serpent, a false Messiah. A false Messiah.
He's come out of nowhere and we don't know who he is.
What do we know about him?
He's leading desperate people.
So this is a cult?
We don't know who he's associated with. We don't know who he's associated with.
But who is the seed of the serpent? I believe it is speaking about the promised son of the serpent, a false Messiah.
He could be creating an army. Or he could be leading them to their death.
What are you doing in Syria? Delivering a message. A message for whom? My father. And who is your father?
We've lost him.
What do you mean?
He just disappears.
No one just disappears.
We all witnessed a miracle.
He saved my daughter's life.
You need to see this.
Bury it for as long as you can. He didn't just click his heels and end up here. He clearly had help.
You get around Syria, Israel, Texas.
It's the nature of my work.
And what is that work?
God's work.
Who do you think he is?
You didn't see what I saw.
And if I did, would I be calling him the second coming?
How far will this new movement spread?
I'm going to find out everything.
This is bigger than what you can imagine.
To find out who these two opposing races are, we don't have to look very far. We know that the woman is Israel, which gave birth to the Messiah. We only need now look for the race of people, which according to this verse hates Israel, like the serpent does. We only need now look for the race of people, which according to this verse hates Israel, like the serpent does.
These Cameroonian migrants have tasted freedom for the first time, but they still bear visible scars of the torture that many of them suffered, like Jean, who was struck with an iron bar by his captors.
Look at my head. You'll see the scar. That's where they hit me with an iron rod.
Having left Cameroon 8 months ago with the dream of arriving in Europe via the Mediterranean, Jean came to be a victim of a well-organized human trafficking syndicate in Libya. He says he was sold 4 times and that slave traders bought him for between 400 and 500 euros.
He took me and he went to sell me in another part of town. We were brought to Brack to work. We were slaves to a whole neighborhood. They didn't ask us whether we were hungry or thirsty. They didn't ask us anything. When we would remove weeds in peanut fields, we worked without getting up. 2 people died right in front of me. The captors would hit someone, the person would cry out, and then they would die.
These terrible living conditions convinced Jean and 249 other Cameroonian migrants to leave Libya. 249 other Cameroonian migrants to leave Libya. They returned to Yaoundé on Tuesday night by a special flight chartered by the government and the International Organization for Migration. After touching down, they are still haunted by the nightmare of having lost everything in Libya. This father is relieved to return to Cameroon with his family after having paid a $6,000 ransom. Other migrants have not been so lucky and are still being held hostage in detention centers.
We have brothers who are still imprisoned over there. When they kidnap you, they beat you and torture you. If we hadn't given them money, they would have cut us up and left us in the desert.
This migrant is one of more than 100 women who was captured pregnant. She was saved after her family paid a ransom. According to her, captors are more violent with the darker-skinned migrants.
Black skin is a commodity in Libya. We're sold at cheap prices like chickens. I was sold, and I was still pregnant at the time. I was sold for around 1 million CFA francs. If I'd given birth in prison, I would have been sold for 1.5 million.
This race is none other than the Muslims. But wait, God is describing that a seed will come from the serpents. This seed of the serpent is describing the Antichrist, which will come from the people which Satan has chosen because of their hatred for Israel. Just like Jesus was the promised seed of a woman, Israel. So Islam is also waiting for Allah to send them a promised Messiah. Called the Imam Mahdi, Islam's 12th Imam. This Mahdi is the seed of the serpent, Allah. And this Mahdi will become the Caliph and King of Islam.
We don't know who he's associated with. We don't know who he's associated with. We don't know who he's associated with.
Uniting all the divided Islamic lands, which were given a deadly head wound when the Caliph of the Ottoman Empire was dissolved, causing their empire to break up. This Caliph will unite the Islamic lands and will restore the office of the Caliph, which the Bible describes as the deadly head wound being healed. And all the Islamic world will wander after the beast. He will also be the one to wage war against Jesus Christ in the Battle of Armageddon. A startling connection between the mark of the beast and Islamic belief about the last days has been discovered.